Morning and Sairam. Welcome back to your online classes. I hope you have done very good in your periodic test too, and you will score very good marks in your periodic exam. So it's time to come back to our daily routine. That means we have to start our online classes. So before periodic test, we have completed our chapter 6. That was, yes, combustion and flame. Now, chapter number 7, that is conservation of plants and animal, is deleted from your syllabus for this year. So we have skipped that chapter, and after that, chapter 8, that means cell structures and function, comes in your syllabus. So in today's video we are going to start chapter cell, that is chapter 8. Is this clear to you? So the topics which we are going to cover in this video are introduction. I will give you introduction about chapter, discovery of cell, organization of cell in organism, variety in cells, shape, size and numbers. Is this clear to you? What we are going to cover? We are going to cover introduction, discovery of cell, organization of cell in organisms, variety of cells, shape, size and number. This clear? So let us start with the introduction part. Now you have already learned that things around us either living or non-living. We all know that the things which are around us, either they are living or they are non-living. Further, you may recall that all living organisms carry out basic functions. All living organisms perform some basic function. All living organisms cannot perform same functions. Is this clear to you? Can you list these functions? Different sets of organs perform the various functions you have listed. That means with the help of hand you can eat, you can write. But with the help of leg you can eat and write? No. Is this clear? That means each and every organ has its specific function. Is this clear? Now, in this chapter, you shall learn about the basic structural unit of an organ, which is the cell. The cells may be compared to bricks. Brick that means int, which are applied to building your house. Clear? Bricks are assembled to make a building. Similarly, like brick you are used for making a house. Like this, cells are assembled to make our body or every organisms. Is this clear to you? So I'm reading this slide once more. I'm giving a brief introduction about this slide. In this chapter, what we are going to study? We are going to study that every organs perform some specific function. Clear? And every organs makes up with a structural unit, that simpler unit, and that simpler unit is known as your cell. Is this clear to you? Shall we move to the next slide? Now, who discovered the cell? How we will know that cell is a structural unit? So Robert Hooke in 1665 observed slice of cork under a simple magnified device. Cork is a part of bark of a tree. Cork vitamin जो आपका तना होता है पेड़ का, उसका एक स्लाइस जो काट के जो पीस आता है, that piece is known as your cork. Is this clear to you? He took a thin slice of cork and observed them under a microscope. He noticed and practiced boxes or compartments on a cork slice. What he has noticed some small blocks are there. Clear? Now these boxes appeared like a honeycomb, छत्ता जो मधुमक्खियों को होता है वैसा. He also noticed that one box was separated from the other by a wall or partition. Hooke coined term and the Hooke named that boxes as a cell for each boxes. What Hooke observed as boxes or cells in the crock were actually dead cells. They are actually dead cells. Cells of or living organism could be observed only after the discovery of improved microscope. Is this clear? Very little was known about the cell for next 150 years because that the microscope invention is a good microscope invention was done by after 150 years. After Robert Hooke observation, today we know a lot about cell structure and its function because of the improved microscope having high magnification. The egg of a hen represents a single cell and is big enough to be seen by our naked eye. Understood this? I am reading this once more. Listen carefully. Robert Hooke in 1665 observed slice of cork under a simple magnified device. Cork is a part of the bark of a tree. He took thin slice of a cork and observed them under a microscope. He noticed and practiced boxes or compartment in a cork slice. Now, these boxes appeared like a honeycomb. He also noticed that one box was separated from other box by a wall or a partition. Hooke coined the term cell for each box. What Hooke observed as boxes or a cell in the cork were actually dead cells. Cells of all living organism could be observed only after the discovery of improved microscope. Very little was known about the cell for the last 150 years after Robert Hooke observation. Today we know a lot about cell structure and its function because of the improved microscope having high magnification. The egg of a hen represents a single cell and is big enough to be seen by the naked eye. Is this clear to you? Now, who is this? This is Robert Hooke, and this is your cork which is observed by the Robert Hooke. I am zooming this. See this carefully. This look like a honeycomb structure, and you can see the small boxes and the partition. See carefully. Clear? Shall we move ahead? Now the cell. Both bricks in a building and cell in the living organisms are basic structural unit. The building, though built as similar brick, have different designs, shapes and size. Similarly, in the living world, an organism differ from one another, but all are made up of cells. That means they all are made up of cells, but they appear different. Like buildings, they appear different now. We all know that we are using brick for making buildings, for building a building. Clear? But they can appear different. Like this, our cell is our basic structural unit, and every organ is made up of cell, but they appears different. Now, cell in the living organisms are complex living structure, unlike non-living bricks. The biggest single cell organism is the egg of an ostrich. Clear? What is the single cell or biggest what is the biggest single cell organism? It is the egg of an ostrich. Is this clear? Now, this is your brick, a brick wall which looks like this, and this is an onion pea. If you will see onion with the help of microscope, it will look like this. It gives a similar structure. See? Clear? This is known as your cell. Clear? Now, organisms show variety in cells, number, shape and size. Organization of the cell in organisms. Cell of the same type group together to form tissue. For example, nerve tissue, muscle tissues. Cell of the same type. If you will collect all the cells of a same type and group together, what they form? They form tissues. That means if these are cells, if you will combine these cells, what they form? They form tissues like nerve tissue and muscle tissues. These are example of tissues. A structure that contains more than one type of tissue is called an organ. Clear? For example, your brain and the heart. Now, a group of organs that work together form an organ system. If your organs perform together, what they known as? They known as your organ system. For example, your mouth, food pipe, stomach, intestine. They all are organs of the digestive system. Clear? Because if you with the help of mouth you can eat food. With the help of food pipe, that food will go to the stomach, and with the help of intestine, it will help to digest. So together these all organs known as your digestive system. Is organ perform specific function? Many organ systems work together to form an organism. See, first image is cell. If you will collect a number of cells together, what they will form? They will form tissue. What they will form? They will form tissue. Collect tissue, they will form organ. Or collect different type of organ, they will form organ system. And different and together organ system will make your organism. Is this clear to you? Now, organism shows an variety in cell, number and shape. How do scientists observe and study the living cells? They use microscope which mainly magnify objects. Stains are used to color parts of the cell of the body. The detailed structures. There are different shapes, size. The organs are also vary in shape, size and number of cells. Let us study about of them. That means it is not compulsory that numbers of cell is equal and the shape of cells are equal, size are equal. Now, dependent on the according to number, shape and size, there are variety of cells. Now we will study classification of cells based on number, shape and size. So first we will start number of cells. Can you guess the number of cells in a tall tree or a huge animal like the elephant? A billion is 1,000 million. A trillion is 1,000 billion, and the number runs into billions and trillions. Human body has trillions of cells which vary in shapes and size. Now, different group of cells perform a variety of function. Now, on the basis of number of cells, your cells can be classified into two types. Number one, your multicellular, and number two, your unicellular. Organism made up of more than one cells. Organism made up of more than one cells are called multicellular. Multi means many, cellular means cells. So the number of cells being less in smaller organism does not in any way affect the functioning of the organism. You will surprise that to know that an organism with billions of cells begins life as a single cell, which is fertilized egg. And the fertilized egg cell multiples and number of cell increases as the development proceeds. Clear? So multicellular organisms are those organisms which have more than one cells. Clear? And these multicells first as a unicellular, that means one cell. After they as year and year go, they start increasing. Is this clear to you? Now the single cell organisms are called unicellular. Uni means one, cellular means cell. Uni means one, cellular means cells. So a single celled organism performs all the necessary function that multicellular organisms perform. A single celled organisms like amoeba captures and digests food, respirates, excretes, grows and reproduces. All the function performed by the one cell. So similar function in multicellular organism are carried by the group of specialized cells forming different tissues, and tissue turns in form organ. In unicellular, all the function performed by the one cell, but in multicellular, all the function performed by the different organisms or different organ system. Is this clear to you? Number of cells. Some of the unicellular example is amoeba and perishum. Clear? So on the basis of number of cells, you can classify cell into two types. Number one is your multicellular and number two is your unicellular. Multicellular means there are different organs will perform different function. Unicellular means all the function performed by the same cell. Is this clear to you? And who discovered cells? Robert Hooke. In which year? In 1665. Is this clear to you? What is the example of unicellular? It is amoeba and perishum. Now, on the basis of shape of cell, how do you define the shape of amoeba in the figure? You may say that the shape appears irregular. In fact, amoeba has no definite shape. Unlike other organisms, it keeps on changing its shape. Observe projection of varying lengths and protruding out of this body. These called physodia. Pseudo means false and phodia means feet. These projection appears and disappear and amoeba moves or feeds. Is this clear? Now, a white blood cell in a human body is another example of single cell which can change its shape, but while WBC is a cell, amoeba is a full-fledged organism capable of independent existence. Understood? White blood cell is a single cell, but amoeba is a single cell organism. They perform all the work with the help of same cell. What shape would you expect in organism with the millions of cells? The different shapes are related to their specific function. Generally, cells are round, spherical, and elongated. We will do this thing later on. Some cells are long, pointed at the both ends. Now, shape of the cell. They exhibit spindle cells also. Cells may sometimes are quite long. Sometimes they are branched, like nerve cell or a neuron. The nerve cell receive and transfer messages, thereby helping to control and coordinate the working of the different parts of the body. Is this clear? Now this is RBC, this is WBC, and this is nerve cell. They all are having different type of shape. Clear? Now can you guess which part of the cell gives its shape? Components of the cells are enclosed in a membrane. This membrane provides shape of the cells of the plants and animals. Cell wall is an additional covering over the cell membrane in plant cells. It gives shape and rigidity to these cells. Bacterial cells also have a cell wall. Now you can perform activity. Boil a hen's egg. Remove the shell. What do you observe? A white material surrounding the yellow part will appear. White material is albumin, which solidifies on boiling. The yellow part is yolk, and it is a part of single cell. You can observe this single cell with any magnifying device. Is this clear to you? Now, on the basis of size of cells, the size of the cells has no relation to the size of the body of the animals or plant. It is not necessary that the cells in the elephant be much bigger than those in rat. The size of cell is related to its function. For example, nerve cells, both in elephants and rats, are long and branched. So they perform the same function, and that of transferring messages. That means size of shell does not depends upon the size of the organism. Clear? They can perform same function and they can have a same length. So what we have done in this video, we have done that introduction about chapter, who discovered cell, what is cell, and how organization of cells in a organism, and classification of cells on the basis of number, shape and size. I think this is clear to you. Thank you and have a nice day.